Hello there people, this is Bruce Cool or nintenbruce here, back again with another deck recipe for Yu-Gi-Oh! Millennium Duels. And I've been meaning to do one of these for a little while. This is an anti-meta deck, which I call Anti-Yugioh, because for those of you that are unaware, anti-meta basically means it counters a lot of the most commonly used plays, for example graveyard use or special summoning, and a lot of effects going off, things like that really. So what I'll do, I'll just get straight into it, and as per usual, go through the monsters, then the spells and the traps, and yeah, we'll go from there. So first of all, we have Alector, Sovereign of Birds. I really want space to whack two of these guys in, but after a bit of messing around, I think one is enough really, and it's not like you'll be reliant on him all the time. But he's got a nice little effect of if your opponent controls two or more face-up monsters, they have to be of the same attribute, mind, then you can just special summon him from the hand. And bearing in mind a lot of people just go for either lights or darks or all water, you know, that sort of thing. So more often than not you are going to get that effect off. And his other lovely little effect is you can target any face-up card on the field and negate its effect for an entire turn, which is just beautiful for, well, anything with horrible effects. I won't go through the entire list because there's tons of cards out there. Moving on, we have 3 Banisher of the Radiance. At 1600 attack, it's mediocre, but its effect is lovely where any card sent to the graveyard is in fact banished, which is just beautiful, and that stops a lot of random plays like Foolish Burial. In fact, it encourages Foolish Burial usage because you get to use the card still, and then the monster goes into the remove from play area, so if your opponent's not wary of it, then yeah, they're going to be wasting cards, which is lovely. And even when it is destroyed, it itself goes into the graveyard to enable the chaos effect of this sort of deck. So on that front you got Blackluster Soldier as well as Chaos Sorcerer. You guys know what they do by now. Light in the Dark in the Grave, special summon, there you go, have some fancy effects. We then have 2 DD Warrior Lady. Lovely little card where you get the choice of banishing a monster or not, whether you're running into it on a suicide mission or just getting rid of a pesky sort of staller card. But yeah, 1500 attack, again mediocre, but there just to be disruptive. 2 Doomcaliber Knights. I will say, for those of you not familiar in using Doomcaliber Knight, just be very careful with it. Yes, it's lovely at 1900 attack and 1800 defense, and yes, you can negate an important card of your opponent's, bearing in mind monster effect, but bearing in mind it hits the first effect that activates, and you don't want to go negating your own effect, so be a bit wary there. We then have 2 Evilswarm Thunderbirds. I absolutely love this card, really do. For those of you unaware about it, yes, it's 1650 attack, which is okay, and 1050 defense, but its effect is what separates it from a lot of cards in the game. It's one of its own unique things. So as soon as an effect that is chainable activates, you can just activate its own effect, which is remove it from play, and then when it comes back it's on 1950 attack, which is lovely, and it stops, you know, stops it being destroyed from things like Mirror Force, Dimensional Prison, Dark Armed Dragon, all sorts. It's a beautiful card, it really is. In fact, I might go around to playing 3 of these at some stage. It's a lovely card. We then have 2 Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo, I believe that's, or Pachycephalo, whatever. And yep, its effect, beautiful. Neither player can special summon monsters. Obviously you've got to be aware of that yourself with the Chaos side and Tragoedia. But on top of that, if it's flipped face up, it destroys all special summoned monsters on the field, which is a nice last ditch sort of move on your part really, if things are getting a bit too much, or if your opponent goes swarm crazy and you're just lying in wait with a set monster. Again, bear in mind how you play your own monsters. 2 Maxx. Bear in mind, can't be played when your Banisher of the Radiance is on the field, but yeah, that's why there's only 2 of them, so if your opponent goes special summon crazy, then you draw a whole lot, so it forces your opponent into a decision of having to make you waste a turn instead. Beautiful card there. Neo-Spacian Grand Mole, one of the key anti-meta cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Period. You go to attack, or they go to attack you, you bounce the monster. It's brilliant, especially against ranked monsters, synchro monsters, things which are awfully difficult to usually get out. And then we've also got a Thunder King Rai-Oh. 1900 attack is lovely. People stop adding cards to the hand instead of drawing them is lovely, bearing in mind that applies to yourself as well with Duality. And then the ability to negate an inherent special summon is also beautiful. So that's the monsters. Going into the spells, got a Book of Moon, Dark Hole, Forbidden Lance, this is especially lovely for anti-meta, a Mind Control. Not many people play this, but I find it's very disruptive, as well as you can use the opponent's effects on cards. That's the thing now, so many people are running ranked monsters and synchro monsters with optional effects. Might as well run one of these, eh? Why not? 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, 2 Pot of Duality. Going into the traps now. Black Horn of Heaven, this is an optional one, you can whack something else there instead if you really fancy. Bottomless Trap Hole, Compulse, 2-dimensional Prison, 2 Fiendish Chain, again negate effects, which is lovely. 2 Safe Zone, which is beautiful as well, bearing in mind you can play this on your opponent's cards as well as your own. So its effect, for those of you that don't know, you have to target a face-up attack position monster, and that cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's effects. So bearing in mind, you can still destroy the monster with your own effects, even if you've targeted your opponent. It's beautiful. Also, the monster can't be destroyed by battle, and it can't attack directly. So if you're in a one-turn kill stage where your opponent's about to destroy you, you can play this and buy yourself some time, which is beautiful. And then Solemn Warning and Torrential Tribute. So the cards themselves don't need much explaining, which is lovely. It's just all to be a pain in the backside. In fact, I didn't say 2 Tragoedia, did I? There you go, 2 Tragoedia. How about that? Again, be careful with the special summoning things with Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo, whatever his name is. But again, he's an OTK stopper as well. In the extra deck, it's pretty bog standard XYZ deck. Bearing in mind, you can change your Tragoedia to level 8 with Blackness Soldier in the graveyard. That's why there's one of these. And again, you've got the Mind Control. And I have bought this guy out. Yes, very rare occurrence. If you're going to run level 8 ranks, just run the one card that you want. Evilswarm Nightmare, Cowboy. You know what? A lot of this stuff is pretty basic for an XYZ deck here. Side deck, again, you can chop and change whatever you want. But we've got Gauze, again, to stop one-turn kills. Side Blocker, that's a handy little card, so if your opponent is constantly searching their deck and wanting multiple effects of the same card, then yeah, just play Side Blocker. Brilliant. Designate it and stop it. Dimensional Prison and Macrocosmos. The extra Mystical Space Typhoon. Big Burn. I want to run more of these, but I don't see too many people special summoning from the graveyard recently, so again, this is a card that you could change. Its effect anyway, when your opponent activates a card that targets a monster in the graveyard, remove all the monsters in both players' graveyards from play. Brilliant. 2 Skill Drain, that's lovely. A Soul Drain. 2 Summon Limit for those Swarmer type decks, so this limits each person to 2 summons per turn. Huge Revolution is over. Again, this is a card that you might or might not want to play. It's kind of like Starlight Road, where if a card destroys 2 or more of your cards on the field, or on the field in general rather, then you activate it, negate it, and banish the card, which is beautiful. One of the selection, pay 1,000 life points, negate summon of a monster that has the same type as a monster on the field. So this could apply to fiends, spellcasters. You guys know what types are, I'm not going to elaborate, but only one of those. And then that's it really. Yeah, anti-meta, or anti-Yu-Gi-Oh as I call it. It's all about being a pain in the backside. Drawbacks are that you can't really swarm the field. But if you're stopping your opponent's summoning and being a general pain in the backside, then you shouldn't need to swarm. So, as always guys, give it a whirl, pop your comments and thoughts about the deck in the section below. Let us know your thoughts about it. Honestly, I do like these kind of decks. I think anti-meta is kind of a meta thing in itself really, but it's just nice to be awkward to the opponent, isn't it? So, until next time guys, you take care of yourselves, and I will see you again soon.